What's going on, guys? I'm Mitchell Renz from Chat Sports, and you're watching NFL Daily. Today's show, I'm going to project the 32 starting running backs in the National Football League, and then I'm going to rank them from worst to first. The goal of today's show, if you like the video, share it. If you don't like it, share it on social media. You know where I'm at Mitchell Renz 365. At number 32 on my list, we're going to go to the Washington Redskins, where I got Derrius Guice starting. I like Adrian Peterson a lot, but there have been reports that they could be moving on from him. At number 31, I'm going to go with a rookie here, Cam Akers, and I think there's a reason why the Rams ended up moving on from Todd Gurley, and I do think that he is better than Darrell Henderson. I think it's one of the reasons why they ended up drafting him this past 2020 NFL draft. At number 30, it's Ronald Jones, and I loved Ronald Jones, honestly, when he first came out of USC, but it has been a rough start for him his first 2 years in the NFL. At number 29, it's Jordan Howard, and you can also make the argument for Matt Breida, who both of these players were brought in during free agency, and both of these players I do think will contribute to the Miami Dolphins offense. Let's now go to number 28. He's got a new home. It's David Johnson, and I think if I would have made this video 3 years ago, David Johnson might have been number one on my list, but it has been a rough past 2 seasons filled with injuries, and honestly, I think he's just put on some weight, and he just hasn't looked as good. I mean, 3.7 yards per carry in 2019, that's not going to get it done. And then one of the best ways that Johnson was able to contribute was actually in the receiving game. I mean, it blows my mind that not too long ago he was close to having 1,000 rushing, 1,000 receiving yard season. It's much different now, and now he's got a new home in Houston. Let's go now to Chicago, and I like David Montgomery. Let's not get this twisted. When he first came out of college, he forced a lot of broken tackles, but had only averaged 3.7 yards per carry. I will also blame a little bit on the Chicago Bears offense. Now let's go to the same division, different team, the Detroit Lions, and I already know some people are going to be like, how can you put DeAndre Swift over running backs that we have never over running backs we've already seen? I like him a lot. I like them a lot out of Georgia, and I like the fit here in Detroit. Let's now go to Indianapolis, where, again, I'm going to put another rookie, and for those of you that play fantasy football, go out and draft Jonathan Taylor, because I think he's going to have a really solid season. The reason why I think Jonathan Taylor is going to start over Marlon Mack, 2 reasons. When I watched him play in college, there are not too many players where I would stop what I'm doing on a Saturday and sit down and watch Wisconsin. Sure, a lot of running backs put up great numbers at Wisconsin, but none of them have put up numbers like Jonathan Taylor. Plus, he's actually a sprinter. He also did that at Wisconsin, running like a 4.3 40-yard dash. Now, the reason why I have him over Marlon Mack is no disrespect to Mack, but the fact that the Colts traded up for Taylor, that says something to me. Plus, they are going to use a running back by committee, but the fact that Marlon Mack has not been able to stay healthy is the reason why I have Jonathan Taylor ranked over Mack. But I kind of already dove into my worst running backs in the NFL. If you disagree with me, the way Chat Sports works is you can get angry with us in the comment section below. So let me know, who is the worst starting running back in the NFL? And yes, I will get into my best guys coming up here in just a little bit. Let's now go to number 24, where you got the Kansas City Chiefs, Damian Williams. And I think Damian Williams is going to earn his starting gig simply because of what he was able to show in the playoffs and then in the Super Bowl as well. I also think he fits the offense still, right? You got a great pass-catching running back, and sure, he's not the best between the tackles, but he gives this team just enough, and that's what they need. But sure, they did also draft a running back in round 1, and I like Clyde Edwards-Helaire very much so out of LSU. And I think when you look at a lot of the numbers, they were kind of stacked due to the LSU offense being as great as what it is. But I'll also say this. If you want to look at a running back that reminds me a little bit of like a Mark Ingram, kind of can really just stay balanced, low to the ground, that's Edwards-Helaire. And the reason why, though, I am going to still say Damian gets the start in week 1 is a little bit to do with this big C, and I think they're just going to trust their gut. Sony Michel, he's next up here on my list of running backs in 2020. He just needs to stay healthy. If the knee's healthy, I could easily put Sony Michel a lot higher, but I want to see what it looks like without Tom Brady there. 22, you got Devin Singletary of the Buffalo Bills. I think a big year is up and coming for this player, and I think he's going to be able to fit the offense really well, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that he actually plays well. 21, you got Chris Carson, and I know I'm probably going to get some hate for this one, but all I want to say is this. Hear me out here, okay? Over 1,000 rushing yards in 2018, 2019. I think he is one of the most underappreciated running backs in the entire NFL. The reason why he is 21 on my list, He suffered a hip fracture last season, and I'm worried he's not 100% healthy. Because let me say this, if he is healthy, he deserves to be higher on the list. The reason why I'm a little bit worried that he's not, they went out and signed a free agent running back in Carlos Hyde. So this is what I'm going to do on today's video. I'm going to make this the pinned comment, and if you want, scroll on down while you're getting hit with that YouTube ad break and let me know who is the best running back in the NFL. Keep the show moving here. 49ers time, Raheem Mostert. And when you talk about running backs, when you talk about coaches, I think Kyle Shanahan, what he's been able to do with this backfield is special. And I'll also say that if you want to talk about one of the most complete backfields in the entire NFL, if we were doing a backfield show, the 49ers would probably be in my top 5. Mostert, Coleman, Jerick McKinnon, all solid backs. But if we're ranking just the starter, I'm going to put Mostert at number 20. Let's go now to the AFC West, where we're going to go to the Denver Broncos, and they do have another running back there. It is Melvin Gordon, and same thing. There's going to be a competition between Gordon and I'll say one of the most underappreciated running backs in the NFL, and Phillip Lindsay. Le'Veon Bell has just kind of fallen, right? I mean, we did this video last year. He was in our top 10. It's a bad fit in New York. I just lost a lot of confidence in Le'Veon, and to just put it with you straight, I think he got lazy, and I don't think he's as good as what he was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that offensive line and that offense in general in Pittsburgh was a big reason for all success. Another new face, Todd Gurley, in a new home in Atlanta. I mean, you think about it, Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, not in my top 15. Yeah, I think that's kind of the world we're in right now in 2020. So let's look at what they did last season. Melvin tried to hold out. Did not work out for you. Todd Gurley did still put up 13 total touchdowns, but the knee's concerning. His yards per carry was one of the lowest it's been in the past 4 seasons. I still like all 3 of these running backs in terms of veterans. However, I just couldn't quite put them in my top 15. One of my favorite things to do during tailgates, during the summertime, it's to play cornhole. I don't know about you, and if you want to challenge me, you can get at me. But if you need a new cornhole set, you can go to chatsports.com/cornhole, where right now they are 30% off. So we have Cowboys ones, we have Eagles ones, but the best part about this, it's all NFL teams, and if you go to that link, chatsports.com/cornhole, there's actually also MLB. There's also, college football. There's NBA, all cornhole games that you want for your favorite team in all sports. You just got to go to chatsports.com/cornhole. Description, comments, 30% off. What more do you want from me? Let's now get into my top 16 here, where we got Kenyon Drake. And I love me some Kenyon Drake because I'm happy that he finally got out of his horrible situation in Miami, and he got to show himself a little bit in Arizona last year. But now I'm really excited to see what he's able to do because they traded away David Johnson, and he's going to be the main running back. And even last season when he really wasn't the main running back, you can see down there below, put up some pretty impressive numbers, 643 rushing yards and 8 touchdowns. Let's go to the city of brotherly love, shall we, where we got Miles Sanders. And for those of you in the fantasy football community, Miles Sanders is one of the sexiest picks right now to be a sleeper running back. I just don't know if it's the best option. Let's stick here in Pennsylvania. I kind of have high hopes for James Conner because when I look at 2019, definitely a disappointment. But there was a lot of injuries, right? Quarterback, Juju Smith-Schuster. The reason why he's 14 on my list is because I see what he did in 2018. And I'm hoping a fully healthy James Conner with a Ben Roethlisberger, with that offensive line, with the offensive pieces around him, can get back to 2018. But you know I was going to do it. You know I'm a PA guy. Who's a better running back? Miles Sanders type M or James Conner type J? If you live in Pennsylvania, if you're a fan of either of these two teams, I want you to take a screenshot of this, post it on Twitter, post it on IG, and tag me at Mitchell Renz 365. I want to see what my friends have to say back home. Let's go now to the Los Angeles Chargers, who will have a new starting running back, but not really because he basically shouldered the load all of last season. It's Austin Ekeler, who I think proved to be one of the best pass-catching running backs in the NFL and signed himself to a new deal, 4 years, $26 million. Austin, that's a hell of a job. So, again, the goal of today's show, okay, the reason why Chat Sports is different is because we care about what y'all have to say. So what you got to do, share this video on social media. So you can click the share button and it posts right to Twitter. It'll post to Instagram. You can post it on Facebook. I want to get 50 shares of this video. So if you like it, click share. You can also just copy the link above and paste it. I got you. But remember to do this. Tag me, because I'm going to retweet and I'm going to post them on my IG as well, at Mitchell Renz 365. Top 12, Mark Ingram, man. I was thinking about doing like the big trust thing, but I figured I kind of have to do that for Derrick Henry. But I like Mark Ingram a lot. I think he fits great, but I also think he gets helped out a lot by Lamar Jackson. Number 11 here, it's Leonard Fournette of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and this is where it really started to get difficult for me, right? I mean, then his entire career, Leonard's been kind of pointed at saying, well, he can't really stay healthy. Well, he was able to do that last season. He played in 15 games. The only one that he ended up missing was Week 17, but that was due to an illness, and the Jags, they weren't trying to win anything. Leonard Fournette, a lot of speculation around him this offseason, but he is number 11 on my list. Top 10, Joe Mixon. And when I think about dynamic running backs, now sure, I don't like Joe Mixon off the field, but on the field, he is a pretty talented dude. Back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons, solid between the tackles, and he's also a very good pass catcher. And I think when you look at statistics for running backs, I think especially in Mixon's case, they suffer with him being in Cincinnati. Maybe Joe Burrow can get a little bit more stats from my man Mixon. At number 9, it's Josh Jacobs. And y'all know that I run the Raiders Report. Y'all know that I absolutely love Josh. And I actually think I'm going to get some hate here. But the reason why I put Josh at number 9 is because I couldn't quite put him over some other running backs who have been able to prove themselves in the passing game. Now, he was rated the second best running back in 2019 according to PFF, and I'm going to say this 100 times. Should have won Offensive Rookie of the Year. I did a bold predictions video on Josh. I said, don't be surprised if he leads the NFL in rushing yards this upcoming season. Let's get into my top 8, shall we? 2020 running backs entering the season. I have Dalvin Cook, and I love me some Dalvin Cook. I'm really excited to see what he's going to be able to do. Another running back, when he's fully healthy, he is one of the most special players to watch. Aaron Jones will stick in the division because I actually think when it comes down to it, it could actually come down to who's the better running back and ends up winning this division, Dalvin Cook or Aaron Jones. And if you want to talk about breakout years, Aaron Jones broke out. Finally was able to stay healthy, put up 19 total touchdowns, and we talk a lot about Aaron Rodgers. Let's not get it twisted. The reason why the Packers were 13-3, the reason why the Packers went to the NFC Championship game, I'm not saying Rodgers wasn't the reason, but I'm saying the main reason was Aaron Jones. And then when you talk about touchdowns, right? I mean, like, that's what's important. Getting into the end zone, and Jones has been able to find the end zone. Here are your 2019 rushing touchdown leaders. All the players on here are in my top 8. But if you notice, we haven't gotten to Derrick Henry. We haven't gotten to Christian McCaffrey yet. Can you guess where they're going to end up showing up here on my list? So if you want more NFL ranking videos, we've already done quarterbacks. If you want wide receivers, if you want tight ends, if you want defenses, heck, kickers, they're people too. You got to click that sub button and share these videos out there because the more subscribers we get, the more videos we can do, the more content we can do. All I ask, share the video, click sub. Let's go to Cleveland, shall we? Where I got Nick Chubb, and I know they have Kareem Hunt there, but Nick Chubb's clearly the better running back in my opinion and clearly fits that offense better. Now, he was second in the NFL last season in terms of rushing yards, but this is the statistic that I really want to bring up. 32 broken tackles. When people tried to wrap up Nick Chubb, I don't know if Chubbs can be wrapped up, he was breaking through them. Also tied there with Aaron Jones. Another name that you're not going to see on today's video that I kind of mentioned before, Phillip Lindsay. I just want to give some love to Lindsay because I do actually really respect him as a running back. You see the last name on there was Alvin Kamara. Well, he's number 5 now on my list. And when I really think about what is a running back in today's NFL, I think it shapes a lot like Kamara, who is great in the running game, right? I mean, last season he suffered some injuries, did take a little bit of a step back, but if you want to talk about a guy who can find the end zone, it has been Alvin Kamara. But the reason why he is in my top 5 is not really so much what he's been able to do between the tackles, but what he's been able to do in the passing game. And it's funny because I put this graphic on here and producer Dylan goes, there's no way he's had 81 catches in 3 straight years. Yes, that's actually a fact, and there's a lot of fantasy football jokes that go with that. But bottom line is this. He is great in his offense. He's a great fit. And defensive coordinators, they struggle to figure out how the heck do I stop Kamara? Because if you try to take away the rushing, he's going to beat you with the receiving game. And I'm going to beat you in cornhole. I can prove it to you. All you got to do is go to chatsports.com/cornhole. Let's play a game online. We can probably even do it on Zoom. I don't know if you want to come down here to Dallas. We can battle it out. But seriously, though, 30% off cornhole. I like to play this when I'm at tailgates, barbecue, summertime. It's the perfect time also for family. And I would imagine just about every single person can play cornhole. So we got NBA ones as well. College football, all you got to do is go to chatsports.com sportsmitchellrenz.com/cornhole, where you can save 30% off on all your cornhole sets. At number 4, it's Derrick Henry. King Henry in the flesh. Whoop, whoop. What up, my man? Where he led the NFL last year, 1,540 rushing yards. And the reason why I can't quite put him in my top 3, he just doesn't have the ability to catch the football like the other guys in my top 3. But if you want to talk about what really matters, I mean, he's the reason why this Titans team went as far as they did. I know Ryan Tannehill got a lot of love, but I think Ryan Tannehill was as good as what he was because of King Henry, especially in the playoffs, where you want to talk about taking over football games and looking like a man running up against little boys. Yeah, that was Derrick Henry. Let's go to another running back that you see on screen. It's Ezekiel Elliott at number 3, and it was really tough to not put him in my top 2, right? I think it's funny. We think Zeke kind of had a down year last year, right? I mean, I've heard that multiple times living here in Dallas, that Zeke had a down year. If 300 carries, 1,357 yards, and 12 touchdowns is a down year, plus he's had 50-plus receptions in 2 straight years, find me a running back that's had more rushing yards per game than Ezekiel Elliott the past 4 years. He's averaging 96.5. The answer, you can't do it because there hasn't been that. Oh, yeah, he also has 48 touchdowns his past 4 years. Zeke, he's a great running back. This is where I'm going to get some hate, and I know I'm going to get some hate here, but I'm a Saquon Barkley fan, and I think if the Giants were to actually use him correctly, there would be no regrets whatsoever with having him at number 2. He's had over 1,000 rushing yards and 50 catches his first 2 seasons, and I'll even make this argument. I think he is the most athletic running back in the entire NFL. If you disagree, yell at me. But he is entering year 3 of his career. Year 3 is a lot of times when you see that breakout. And if he's able to really break out this upcoming season, don't be surprised if he is number 1 on my list. At number 1 on my list here for running backs, it's Christian McCaffrey, where probably not too big of a surprise. And considering the fact that the season that he had, I'll say this. I've covered football for a long time. I've played fantasy football for a long time. It's the greatest season by a running back in NFL history because over 1,000 rushing yards, over 1,000 receiving yards in 2019. Plus, he was able to break the NFL's reception record by a running back, which he set the year before, may I add, with 116. When you're looking at what a running back is, and there's a reason why now he is the highest paid guy, it's not because of the stats that you just saw on screen, it's because of these. 116 catches, over 1,000 yards on a team that realistically did not even have a quarterback. Now you insert Teddy Bridgewater. Maybe you add a few more pieces around him, which they have. I mean, it is fun to watch Christian McCaffrey because there is not a better player, maybe not a more valuable player to his team than McCaffrey and the Carolina Panthers. So if you got a bone to pick, you made it this far in the video, I appreciate that. But what I want, and I want you to be honest with me, let me know where you agree. Let me know where you disagree. I'm always on Instagram. I'm always on Twitter. And I'm at Mitchell Renz 365 everywhere you look. So let me know. I'm curious. All right, we'll take you through these one more time. Here are my worst starting running backs in the NFL. No disrespect to them, but they just don't compare to some of these other guys. You also got David Johnson here. Then you see 2 rookies, DeAndre Swift, Jonathan Taylor. If you're in a rookie dynasty draft, take Jonathan Taylor, number 1 overall. Let's go now 24 to 21. Chris Carson, I'm sorry, but if you can prove to stay healthy, you deserve to be much higher on this list. These next 4 names I think are always really interesting because you got Melvin Gordon, Le'Veon Bell, Todd Gurley, big names. But again, getting a little bit older, and no disrespect to Mostert. Y'all know I love Mostert. From 16 to 13 now, Miles Sanders, James Conner, who's the best running back in Pennsylvania. 12 to 9, y'all know that I love me some Josh Jacobs, but I couldn't quite put him in my top 8 because he needs to improve in the passing game. But don't be surprised if he leads the NFL in rushing yards this upcoming season. From 8 to 5, this was really, really difficult. It wouldn't surprise me if all 4 of these running backs you on screen, they could easily be number 1 next year. But this is a ranking show. That's what we do here at Chat Sports, and that's my job. And here are my top 4 running backs entering the 2020 season.